Hello friends, Liliana and I, and wait, who's this?
Hickory.
Hickory. Liliana, Hickory, and I wanted to share with you today 6 of the very first wild edibles that you can find coming up in the forests and fields. Note that the sap is still flowing for us. We're still getting freezing nights, and yet these plants are up and growing. Pretty amazing, isn't it? We are not so much eating them right now, but we're noting where they are so that we can harvest probably just in a couple weeks. What do you think? Yeah. And it's really good if you're going to eat these plants, that you're familiar with them at all of their growth stages. We've done some videos even on the dried stalks that you find in the winter. And if you know those dried stalks, again, you know where to look for things. So we saw stalks here in the winter. We've come down here. We're going to show you the first of these wild edibles right now. What's it going to be, Liliana?
Nettles.
Nettle, stinging nettle. Let's take a look. All right, Liliana, you're standing right on top of one almost, huh? Show us what this is. Let's get a closer look. This is stinging nettle. You're going to notice that a lot of these plants, when they first come up, are purple rather than green. This is starting to get its green. Notice the shape of those leaves. You can see the spikes down here on the one on the right, and the opposite branching instead of alternate. Nettles grow in groups, so if you find one, you're probably going to find others nearby. Liliana, do these nettles bite this early?
Not too much to me, but I guess they could.
Let's try it out, shall we? Ow, I just got bit.
I did not get bit. I did not try.
You did not try. Now you're right, that one is pretty big. It did bite me multiple places on my fingers. The wood nettles, which we're not going to see today because they're not up yet, they do not bite when they're young. But these guys will bite even when they're young. So if you are going to harvest them at this young stage, got to steam them or boil them, unless you want to have prickly tongue.
Hickory doesn't too much get the prickly tongue.
Hickory just goes for it?
Yeah. He does not steam though at all.
Probably tongue of iron. What's another one we can find here in the forest, Liliana?
Waterleaf.
Waterleaf, Virginia waterleaf. Let's take a look at that one. All right, that's a waterleaf, huh? That's kind of fuzzy. Here we have a slightly older one. That same drooping over feeling. Here we are, we can even see the little telltale light marks on each leaf. See there? Those are one of the distinguishing marks of waterleaf. The other distinguishing feature is the stem that's rounded on one side and flat on the other side. See that fuzz all over it. If this is seeming too confusing, remember that this is part of a learning process. How old are you now?
9.
9. And you can identify all of these at their young stage, right? Do you feel confident or just kind of medium confident?
I feel pretty confident.
Pretty confident. All right.
Though it's pretty hard to tell the really, really, really little ones that are just, the color purple or something.
Yeah, this is a fun identification game. But when you see them here on the video, you can go out, see if you can find them in your environment. If you don't have these plants, then see what you do have in your environment. Look at some of the really small plants and remember where those are. Come back and see them tomorrow, a day later, a week later, and you're going to start to learn even those teeny tiny forms. And this one has lots of names. I call it Gill-over-the-ground. Ground ivy is another name. But this is up and ready to munch already. You going to pick one? Why don't you give it a taste and tell me what it tastes like?
Tastes like spring.
Like spring. I love that.
I forgot how plants tasted.
This is a really common plant that's treated as a weed in yards, but it is actually a really flavorful herb. You can use it in teas. You can add a little bit to a salad, some to soup. You collecting some to take home?
Yep.
Okay, Liliana, what do we have down here?
Wintercress.
Wintercress. This is a mustard. The way these leaves grow, the big one, and then two little ones that come up opposite. You're going to notice that this is the same as a lot of other mustard plants like watercress. But wintercress, it stays there under the snow all winter long. As soon as the snow goes, this guy is peeking out. So Liliana, have you eaten this one early in the spring before? Or is this new for you?
I probably have.
You want to give it a try? This one's pretty bitter, but sometimes when you get it really early, it's not too bad.
It's bitter.
It's bitter, but not too
bad.
not horrible.
No.
This is another plant that you're going to want to steam or boil before you eat it, just to get rid of that bitterness, unless you love a bitter flavor. Hey Liliana, come over here. Found another one.
Dandelion.
Yeah. Dandelion is a favorite wild edible of ours. The whole plant is edible, has different flavors, but this is it really early. What do you say?
It's less bitter than it usually is.
Nice, all right. Another plant that can be famously bitter, but you can get used to that taste. Or again, you can put this into horta, which I will link to a video to right here. And this, when you steam it or you boil it a little bit, the bitterness is going to go away and you're going to have a delicious wild green.
Oh, that's good.
We're heading back into the woods for this one. Here she's found our sixth one. This is Spring Beauty. These guys, as soon as they come up, their flower buds are already on the plant. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? And we eat just the leaves. Some people harvest the little tubers from these, but the leaves are such a wonderful little salad green. You can just harvest one from each plant and yum, delicious. You want one? Yum. No bitter, right? What do you think?
Yeah, I just got the taste. Tastes so much like spring. Can I get 3 more or 2 more?
Absolutely. We've only hit on a few of what are actually coming up right now. There are wild strawberry, there's violet, there's gallium coming up. All kinds of plants emerging and being very close to giving us all their delicious nutrition. If you are not a forager, I highly have to recommend this as one of the funnest hobbies you can take up. It can become a life way as well. My family, and especially our neighbor, they get so much of their food, their daily nutrition, from wild things that they harvest. Especially their wild rice harvest is a staple for them all winter long. This is available to everybody. The food is free, it's highly nutritious, and it gets you outside, away from screens.
The food is not free. You have to work to get it.
There's some truth to that, right? Share in the comments, my friends. Share and like if you did enjoy this video. And we'd love to have you subscribe to our channel. We love it when you leave comments. Tell us about your foraging this time of the year. Are you gathering any wild plants? What are the first ones that you see coming up? Thanks for joining us on this adventure, and we will talk with you in the comments. Love to you all.